10, 9, ignition sequence start. 6.
Hello, and welcome to Rocket Fuel, your daily update of everything that's happening in the rocket pool community. My name is Wack. Today is August 27th, and it has not been a daily update for quite a while, so I'm really sorry about that. For those of you who didn't catch the last couple of episodes, I'm currently traveling, and it's just been a bit chaotic, so I haven't been able to record. However, I'm here recording now, and I'm hoping that I'll be getting some more regular episodes out over the next couple of weeks, and then going back to my regular cadence from September 12th. But until then, I'm going to hope to get as many episodes as I can out, and it's good to be back. I missed you all. Okay, so the first thing I want to talk about, I know that I said this a few weeks ago, and I'm only going to kind of plug this a couple of times. However, we are now at the end of the plug cycle because the Gitcoin round is about to end. So here I said, so if you donate to Rocket Fuel Gitcoin, you'll get a POAP once someone makes the POAP. Haha. So at the moment, no one has made the POAP, but I should get a POAP done soon. And once that's done, I'll be giving it out to the people who have donated. And as you can have a look over here on the Gitcoin page, that I have now received $324 funding, and that's from 92 contributors. So I'm hoping that that amount can have a nice push in the next couple of days. But I just want to thank everyone who has contributed, because it's really touching, right? Like that you all have helped so much already. So thank you for everyone who has contributed. I'm going to try to get a POAP to everyone who has. And if I don't get that to you, I'll try my best to get that to you, but I can't really guarantee at the moment. Okay. So since I've been traveling, here there's a picture of me and Ramana together. I finally learned how to pronounce it properly, which was amazing. I think I did a good job of it there. I think Ramana's other partner can correct my pronunciation again if need be. But we met up a couple of days ago, and we had a really nice chat for quite a while actually, and it was really wonderful to meet Ramana, because he's just like a super smart and like really, really cool person, and I feel like there's so many really, really cool people in the rocket pool community. Like every single one that I've met in person and like spent a good chunk of time with, I thought they'd been amazing. So that was really, really nice thing that happened. And then another thing happened in like personal news for WAC is I started a Farcaster account. I'm sorry if you can't see like the top of that page. I started a Farcaster account. It's warcast.com/WAC. I'll put the link of that in the description. So if you want to give it a follow, I'm following people back. Nixo is the one that got me invited, so thank you Nixo for that. And I will try to post stuff on Farcaster, and sometimes even maybe ahead of posting that stuff on Twitter. So let's get to the actual news now, because I know a lot of you have been waiting for that. The first news, and some of the biggest news that we had, was this update from Maverick on the 22nd saying, hello everyone, we've been advised that the below impacts rocket pool and have been asked to advise all users to withdraw their liquidity from the pool ASAP. Please note, in the interest of getting the news out, this has not been verified by Rocket Pool, so as with anything with DeFi, please be careful and do your own research before taking any action. And here there was a Twitter from Balancer. There was a post saying Balancer has received a critical vulnerability report affecting a number of version 2 pools. Emergency migration procedures have been executed to secure a majority of TVL, but some funds remain at risk. Users are advised to withdraw effective LPs immediately. So there was some reports of vulnerabilities found in Balancer, and a whole lot of people from the Rocket Pool community have their rETH and RPL in Balancer pools. That's because the IMC uses Balancer pools most favorably for the incentives management, and those are the ones that we give most of our incentives through bribing protocols. So this news, really got people moving, and we got this news from Valve a little while later saying a list of effective pools with rETH or RPL. So he says unmitigated withdrawal will be migrating the mainnet 50 rETH 50 BB AUSD pool, the mainnet 50 rETH 50 BB Euler USD pool, ZK EVM BRETH BBO USD pool, and then mitigated recommended withdrawal will be migrating. So that's the Arbitrum rETH BBA wrapped ETH BPT pool, and then there's others as well. So if you want to go and have a look at the full list, there's a GitHub link to the Balancer page where they share the information. So you can go and check if any of those were you were impacted in any of those. Just give me 1 second. I just need to close some of these because I just have way too many tabs open today. Sorry. Okay, so yeah, I'm not sure of what the status of the Balancer stuff is right now. However, I think the vast majority of people are now safe, and I'm not exactly sure how much was or wasn't lost, but I don't think it was too bad. I think Balancer were able to get everything done in the right way, so they were able to mitigate almost all the issues. But please let me know if you want me to add some more information to this, and I'll dig into it a little bit deeper and try to find out what I can. Okay, next we're going to be talking about the rETH premium and the ARB opportunities available. So a lot of people who have rETH, a few days ago were starting to realize that there's a premium, and that premium could add up to be 3 or 4 months worth of rewards. So it makes a lot of sense to trade that premium and capture those rewards for yourselves. So this person here, 0x622FF67C, was one of those people who got 1% premium basically on their rETH. So they sold 2,069 rETH for 2,258 ETH. So this was one of those people who kind of captured that spread, that premium. However, there were a whole bunch of other people that were trying to capture the premium, and that was mostly being done through Ramana's ARBot. So here, Ramana said that they're setting up a new contract, and he says, by the way, the new Huff contract is not yet deployed. It does look like this. The deposit pool is 18,000. Sell rETH held in the contract for some ETH, as much as we know we'll be able to replenish. Create a new mini pool, borrowing 24 ETH from the pool. Deposit the bought ETH into the pool to mint enough rETH to repay the contract. Keep any remainder ETH as profit. So Ramana was coming up with some different strategies of how to set up new ARB bots. And with some success. So here there was a bot that was showing ETH deposited into the deposit pool and what that looked like, and then also some transactions about what it's looking like. But it looks like the Rocket Uni ARB is still cheaper than the 1-inch one because of the way the gas is set up, and 1-inch being expensive. So there was a whole bunch of work being done on the ARB. Of course, there being a premium on rETH means that people want to ARB, and it makes sense for them to want to ARB. So there are people working on making the ARB as efficient as possible. And then, as you can see over here, the ARB bots were getting used quite nicely. So here we have Dave, the founder of Rocket Pool, using the Rocket ARB and using the Unibot. So that was really cool to see. And and then yeah, here's like what it looks like to do that stuff, and what it looks like when the ARB is happening. And then this was actually like really awesome. So I said here, Ramana said, man, love it when Dave uses your thing, which is really nice. And then Dave actually responded by saying, I tried to use it over the weekend, but I was running into gas issues despite me trying a different number of different values. You patched the issue overnight and the rETH ratio went up during the interim, but honestly this is such a great idea. I also used it when you first made it a while back. YOLO. We'll aim to execute the bounty on making this an official plugin for the Rocket Pool Smart Node stack soon. Credit where it's due. Great idea and execution, mate. So I really like that, Dave took time to give some praise to Ramana on this situation, because so many people in the community kind of work and do like really great stuff. And I guess, when members of the team kind of give you praise and support for your work, that's kind of like how it is for a kid, I guess, to get support and like love and feedback from their parents when they from when they're kids. It definitely feels like that. And I remember saying to Ramana as well that when, I don't know if it's here, I said it's not the same, but it makes me feel all warm and fuzzy when someone in the team says they watch Rocket Fuel. So I think that was the same kind of idea. Like I get that exact same feeling. So it's really awesome, and I think Ramana deserves that respect for creating such a great tool, and that's working so well for so many node operators. Okay, so speaking about some of the node operators for whom it's working well, here we had Marco Bacco, who had started some bond reductions, a whole lot of bond reductions, like a whole lot of bond reductions. So the premium's kind of been eaten away, and a whole lot of the premium is actually now gone, because not only was Marco Bacco feasting, as we can see here over and over again, basically starting their reduction and then starting the mini pools a little while later. But we also, like can see here, the mini pools were created with the credit, so that was really cool. But here we had Thomas as well saying, is there a way to select multiple but not all mini pools for doing bond reduction? Like if I want to reduce bonds for mini pool number 2 to 51 on the list, and Patches says you could invoke Rocket Pool API directly. Vaka says buy ARB. Patches says if you make a file with all the mini pool address separated by new lines, I think I can give you a command to do it. Thomas says okay, I can do that. Patches says as in all the ones that you want to reduce, this will be a bit of an adventure. Make sure not to include LEB8s in the list. And Thomas says, I don't mean to make this any more complicated than it needs to be. Patches says, so the deal is the command exists, Rocket Pool API, mini pool begin, reduce bond amount, mini pool address, new bond amount way. So we can do this with XRGs, I think. I have no idea how to pronounce that. We just need a list of mini pool addresses. And then Thomas says, all right, I got the list. And Patches says, can you give me the first address on the list and delete it from the file? We'll use that to test. And then there's the address, and then there's the information, and then Patches is basically giving live support to Thomas about how to do it and what it's all looking like. And Thomas says, looks like it's working, just waiting for gas to drop a bit now. Roman says, so much for planning to ARB tomorrow. I guess I hope EigenLayer does restaking next week. So not only did Thomas check to see if it's working, but he basically reduced the bond on 37 mini pools in one shot. He did it so quickly that it didn't even go through while he was doing them, so it was pretty good. Thomas says, thank you for the help. This place is awesome. Patches is awesome, said by Mad Matt, which of course is totally true. Okay, and then that's of course the screenshot that Patches shared with all the bond reduction starting, and then you could see on events as well where Thomas initiated the bond reduction for a mini pool and the specific mini pools that he was doing that for, and it was working really well. So yeah, that was good stuff. And then the bond reduction was initiated, and of course then you got the mini pool starting. But with all these mini pools starting, we got a new milestone that was reached, which was 27,500 mini pools have been created, which is really wonderful to see. So that was very nice. Milestones, of course, are always great, and hitting this milestone, 27,500 mini pools, yeah, it's just in under 2 years, and I'm hoping that we get that much in the next, maybe even as we update to LEB4s, which we'll be talking about later. Maybe not. Yeah, as we update to LEB4s, we'll be able to double that number quite quickly, I think, hopefully, which would be really, really amazing to see. Okay, and then of course we got another milestone here, which is the rETH supply. Jasper quickly took this screenshot because we've kind of been flirting with the 500,000 number for a while, but we shot up to 510,000 rETH, which is a new all-time high, as Jasper points out over here, which is really, really great to see. And I think that we're hitting new highs, and I just hope that with there being a premium, we're able to keep node operators pumping out those LEB8s and the new validators, just to keep everything like flying along, because we really kind of stagnated there for a little while. But I'm hoping that after the rewards checkpoint in 3 days time, we'll really start to fly with like potentially thousands of bond reductions, I hope. Okay, there's the milestones, 27,750, which is as of today. So we are in a really good position now. Like it's chugging along, and everything's kind of growing. Okay, next I'm going to be talking about a few different governance things that are kind of ongoing. So the first one was allow mini pool deposits while under minimum RPL. So we talked about this, in one of the previous episodes about the benefits of making it easier to start new mini pools, even when not being above 10%, and how that should work. And then Whisker says this should be quite worthwhile at 100% normal requirements. In most cases, the alternative is not Sybil nodes, but people simply not creating more mini pools at all. Removing barriers to more capacity is benefit enough for the protocol. And Valdo says, I think the community consensus is clear that 100%, i.e. the same amount as a fresh node, is better than 110%. Upgrade to draft RPIP with RP pull request that, and then sentiment poll. And then Phonox says this leads us to a conclusion that node operators will still have incentives to create a new node instead. If they create a new node, they would get the RPL rewards for the newly created mini pool, but if they follow the procedure to keep on the current node, they won't get any RPL rewards. Is it worth the change if the incentives for Sybil would still be there? And Valdo says with 100% directionally helpful. If someone isn't making more minis due to inconvenience, that solves this. It won't solve cases where they want to maximize immediate RPL yield, though there's no guarantee splitting is the best RP yield long term, or maximize voting power. I think they'll need different tools there, like perhaps slightly greater capital efficiency for monolithic nodes with mega pools and node level collateral. And then there was a sentiment poll that was done, and here sentiment poll time, note that we've changed from 110% to 100% from the original, and support to moving to a vote. 96% of voters, and undecided one person, or 4% of voters. So that was overwhelmingly supported moving to a forum, for a snapshot vote. Then we had Schifrin, who asked some questions about retrospective award RPL amounts, and what should happen with that, and with the price changes that have taken place, and what it means for the recalculate at time of payment option. So here there was a vote, and this vote was a little bit less decisive as the previous one, but recalculate at the time of payment had 63%, leave the predetermined RPL amount as it is, 32%, and others please comment 5%. So Ramana, Dr. Doofus, Valdorf and others, Patches, and a whole lot of other people actually, like Jasper and others, kind of weighed in on this and shared their opinions. and it looks like this will be moving to the next phase as well, although I'm not exactly sure how, so I'll let you all know when I know that. I really should know as I'm a GMC member, but it looks like Shifting's already been recalculating some of the amounts, because he was saying in trading earlier that he's been recalculating some of the amounts. So I'm not exactly sure what the next step here is, whether it needs to go to a PDAO vote or not, but yeah, it looks like there'll be some interesting stuff that happens in this direction. So if you are due a retroactive grant, then you might be getting a little bump in the RPL amount you were expecting. Okay, and next we have this post about the GMC Treasury USD diversification. So this is new, so I'll go into a bit more detail about it. So it says below is a proposal to add USDC to the GMC Treasury. Motivation: encouraging external participation by including USDC payments. We attract a diverse applicant pool, leveraging more GMC funds for protocol growth. Applicants can conveniently opt for RPL or USDC compensation. Plan starting in September, the GMC converts 20% of inflow payments to USD per month. Given the historical context, the current price of RPL is comparatively low. This prompts us to adopt a gradual approach to accumulating USDC holdings over time, rather than making a significant trade at the current price. Statistics: the GMC receives about 3,275 RPL per month at an RPL price of $25. That amounts to, well, that's already outdated, amounts to $81,875, whereas 16,375, which is 20%, would be set aside for USDC. Obtaining statistics such as the number of applicants favoring USD over RPL proved challenging. Determining the optimal allocation was complex, given that a substantial portion of the funds would be reserved for prospective applicants who might not have engaged without the USD alternative. Here's a quote taken from Danda Chaka: "In the ideal world for me, all applicants specify payment amount as a USD value. Recipients choose payment denomination, either USD or RPL, in their applications. If they choose RPL, their exchange rate is locked at that time. The GMC has a USDC reserve. RPL denominated payments are funded out of the current reserve. The USD denominated payments are funded out of the USDC reserve, or by selling RPL at award time, determined at the discretion of the GMC. If there's no USDC reserve or not enough USDC in it, the latter option is used. For convenience, the corresponding amount of RPL could also be used at the current exchange rate. For bounties, because the recipient is not known upfront, I suggest the payment denomination should always be in USD until the time that an applicant claims bounty compensation completion, at which point they can change it. I try to outline an approach that could utilize but wouldn't strictly depend on the treasury diversified against volatility. The other goal is to have a process that makes denomination and risk clear from the beginning, and to minimize the impact of RPL price change to the GMC itself by neatly locking in an exchange rate in a precise manner." And then how does the protocol DAO feel about this? Add USDC to the GMC Treasury. I agree with the proposal above, 54%. Keep everything RPL for now, 38%. Add USDC to the GMC Treasury, but under different parameters, 8%. So here Space Cadet says, I voted to keep RPL for now, and that includes, people can sell their RPL once they receive it. People see this as more a selling pressure. Payout should be RPL equivalent to USD value agreed on date is being made, and then this would be vote would be negated. Only way this benefits the GMC is if RPL USD goes down, but then it's almost like a hedge by the GMC, which doesn't promote confidence. The GMC thinks RPL USD will go up. Could be wrong with my interpretations, but this is first impression. And Dondo says this is absolutely a hedge. RPL is proven to be a volatile token. No matter how bullish you are, the reserve would get the GMC some ability to avoid selling RPL. And more points as well. And Shifting says, I would contend that establishing a safety cushion to finance repairs in the face of potential price collapse would significantly more significance than any potential selling pressure amounting to around $15,000 per month. Considering the elimination of the retroactive cap and the subsequent recalculation, we are effectively granting nearly double the amount of RPL to specific recipients. This impact could be mitigated substantially with diversified treasury in place, a forward-looking reallocation of 20% of presents a gradual plan offering the dual benefits of stability amid market volatility and heightened accounting efficiency. By adding a USD, we could extend the scope of potential applicants, enhancing the overall application pool. So yeah, there was some really good points there. So if you are interested in any of these discussions, please pop into the DAO forums and go give them, interact with them and like share your ideas. Okay, next we have a whole bunch of updates about client updates. So we're going to start with this one first. There's a new Bisu version 23.7.1. So Robocop's gone mad, shared this information. However, very quickly it realized that there were some problems with that version of Bisu. So here there's a PSA on ETH Staker saying ETH Docker users don't update Bisu, and then later they said, this has been resolved, you can safely update. So Bisu 23.7.1 is out, but the latest tag on the Docker hub pulls 23.1.3 instead, and until it's fixed, an update would cause a downgrade, which in turn throws the database for a loop. So I recommend hanging loose until the tag has been updated to correctly pull 23.7.1. You can safely use ETH Docker with Bisu, just don't update. And then this, as this situation was arising before it got fixed, here Yorick shared information about it, saying, hold up guys, the tag is not working properly and it'll mess up your DB, your database when you download. And Joe asked, is it just the latest tag? And Yorick said yes. So it was just a matter of actually fixing that tag. So yeah, there was some information there, and it seems like it got worked out quite quickly, so that is good to see. And then Joe gave us an update about Bloxroute ethical, and he said, as of right now, the Bloxroute ethical relay has been shut down as expected in the above announcement. As a reminder, if you have MEV boost enabled and are using the Bloxroute ethical relay or unregulated no sandwiching profile, this relay will no longer work. We'll remove it in the next smart node update. So that's been sunsetted. We also had an update from Prism saying the new Prism client was released, version 4.0.8. This release is recommended. See release notes for details. And then we also had an update from Nimbus here, saying that their version 23.8.0 came out, and it has some information here about what is included in that and how it all works. So go give that a read if you are a Nimbus user. And then finally we had information from Lodestar saying the Lodestar user incentive program has ended. Thanks to all of those who participated, and shout out to Mega Labs for their support in analyzing validator data. Prize eligibility and what happens next is below in this link. It was for people who proposed using Lodestar. They were able to get in on that $25,000 prize. So if you use Lodestar, you might be winning that. I don't think the winners have been announced yet, but maybe they have by now, but I'm not sure. I haven't seen any news of the winners of that. When I do, I'll let you all know. Okay, next we had some issues of another service. We're going to come back to that later. So what I want to cover next is the smoothing pool. So as you know, the smoothing pool got a nice big block a few weeks ago, and here we saw the smoothing pool take over to over 400 ETH. Let's have a look to see where it is right now. So I will use the random channel and run the command. Smoothing pool, no one's run it recently, so we are at 474, and this is over 24 days and 16 hours. So we have 3 days left in the smoothing pool, and I'm fairly confident that will hit over 500 ETH this month, which is a very respectable target and a very respectable milestone. So good job smoothing pool operators, because that's pretty nice. Okay, next we're going to be talking about a bunch of incentives and partnerships that are happening. So PancakeSwap, as you all know, incentivizes Rocket Pool tokens. So here we had a tweet saying a new RPL syrup pool is now live on Ethereum's PancakeSwap stake cake. to earn RPL. So 500 cake stake limit will last for 48 hours. So this, I guess, is already old news. So sorry about that. And then we all have some more information here about some more Ethereum pancake swaps. So these are rETH stuff. So there's the rETH ETH pool at 0.05%, and there's got cake multiplier upgrades, and then there's also the Bitcoin pair that also has rewards and incentives there. So you add liquidity to the LPs, and in return you get cake rewards, which is really nice to see. So thanks for that pancake swap. Okay, next I want to talk about this story from Benjamin here, who is a part of Rubicon Financing. And Benjamin reaching out on behalf of Rubicon, an on-chain order book protocol built on Arbitrum, Base, and Optimism. We want to propose an incentive program where we believe we could be a great fit for the IMC's Layer 2 liquid strategy. We would like to run a liquidity campaign on rETH for all your Layer 2s that we feel more efficient than the existing programs. We can reward specific plus or minus X depth as well as volume and any other KPIs you all may want to target. Noticing that majority of your outstanding programs with AMMs, we couldn't help but think that our new offering will provide a better return on investment on your RPL inflation for liquidity and more customizability for targeted program. Moreover, we can run this for you on any network that Rubicon supports, including Base. We're calling this new offering DDMM, Democratized Designed Market Making. It's a framework for incentive programs where asset issuers can reward active liquidity providers, market makers, on a specific trading pair on Rubicon. DDMM programs can be customized to meet the asset issuers' needs regarding market volume, order book depth, and other KPIs. At the end of the program, incentives are airdropped to the addresses that earn rewards from actively providing liquidity on the relevant pairs according to the relative weight score they earned. And then it was giving information saying that we can do this for rETH or RPL, be efficient, cost-effective way to incentivize healthy L2 liquidity for Rocket Pool ecosystem. And then there was some more information there. And Valdorf pointed out they made the point that they feel is more efficient. And Valdorf says, can you provide any backing for this? The other thing we need to get to consider is security. Please point us to audits, bounty programs, and let us know how long you've been up and running with real money. So then Benjamin went on and explained why he thinks it's more efficient, and he says that we've completed 2 audits and plan to launch an Immune5 bounty program in the coming weeks. Our bounty will go live after the findings of a second audit to go publicly live hopefully soon, and live in OP for 3 years as a project. We have been running the DDMM for 2 months, experiencing almost over $20 million in trading volume just from our generalized program Optimism. Mainnet started on July 1st. Please let me know if you can elaborate any more context. And then Valdorf says user security matters too, not just IMC fund security. And then there's some more back and forth. And Jasper says, order books for rETH intuitively make sense for me given the fairly predictable market. And then there were some of the back and forths here as well. So if you're curious in this discussion, then definitely go and check out that. And then Thomas came in and said, I wanted to drop in and voice my strong support of and trust in Rubicon. I've been friends with the team for a while and an angel investor in the protocol. These guys are all high integrity builders with a long-term mindset. I think a trial run on Rubicon will be very worthwhile for the IMC. And Valdorf says, yeah, we saw a familiar face. So that was pretty cool. Another thing that was really cool is this Aave limit of RPL deposits has been hit. So there was a cap of 210,000 RPL that was available to deposit into Aave. That is now capped, so there's no more space to put RPL into Aave for the purpose of it being lent out. That is currently earning a reward of 0.85% APY, which means that only 66,000 of the 105,000 is being borrowed right now, and those people who have borrowed that 66,000 RPL are are currently paying 3.41%. Of course, 3.14% has to be spread out across all 210,000 RPL, which is why the amount is nearly a third, just over a third. So the bottom cap is at 105,000, and then once the amounts start getting higher, then the interest rate will go up very quickly as it goes to the higher numbers. So this was really great to see that the RV pool is now doing sitting very pretty, and now we just need to get more people borrowing from there. And I think once we start hitting the upper limits of that, then we might see the size of the pool increase again. So that was pretty good stuff. I'm really happy to see that happening. Okay, moving on, we're going to be talking about Jasper for a few minutes here. So Jasper, of course, is still not back on Twitter, which is an abomination. I guess that's going to be it for Jasper's Twitter life. He'll probably end up making a new Twitter account, I think. But here he had a post about LSTs. He says, let's talk about the future of LSTs. This was on ETH Finance, of course. He says there are roughly two types of LST roadmaps out there. You have horizontal scaling through the addition of new modules, and you have vertical scaling through the use of new protocols built on top of the existing one. You can make a weak analogy of the modular versus monolithic chains, but it doesn't hold, as both of the aforementioned routes are types of modularization, as I will explain below. So he goes on to explain vertical scaling and how this is pathway that Ethereum itself is taking, and then this is the model that Rocket Pool is currently pursuing as well, about how the base layer is scaling as quickly as it can safely, while the layer 2 ecosystems continues to build. One of those, of course, is NodeSet. The premier example of this, NodeSet will let you deposit your ETH or your RPL separately, and it will send that to node operators to stake on your behalf. And then he goes on to talk about how this compares to people building like a Lido fork on top of Rocket Pool. He goes, shout out to NodeSet for making an even better reality. And then this is a major benefit of the L2 approach, is that NodeSet can more easily experiment with design than the main Rocket Pool contracts can. You don't have to risk upgrading the base layer and can actually move towards ossification. Economic abstraction also means that NodeSet can build systems for people who only want to stake ETH or only want to stake RPL or both. And then there's information about DVT here. And then he says the other type of scaling is horizontal, and this is what Lido are doing, and then how that's kind of like worked out for them, and what the problems with this approach are, and what the issues are. He says, I only discussed Rocket Pool and Lido here, but virtually all protocols are following one of the above routes, and since most started centralized, most are following the Lido route. I'm very interested to see what route Diva chooses, as is DVT from the ground up. It could make sense to become a plug-in network. In summation, Rocket Pool and Lido are following different roadmaps that analogize very well to the old and modern Ethereum scaling roadmaps. These routes each have their pros and cons and likely to shape how the protocol had their origins. Lido was centralized and growth maxi from the get-go. Rocket Pool was restrained and prioritized decentralization over faster launch times. One of these is following Daddy Ethereum, the other sits at 33% of the network. And then Logri started making comments. Grave Vampire Nixo came in and makes some really comments. Jasper told her that he's Jasper, and she's like, what? I didn't know that. So yeah, but it was a really nice post that you can go and read in a little bit more detail if you go to Reddit. The link, of course, is below for you to check out. Jasper then was sharing some other bread that he's been kind of coming across recently. He says, I'm talking with a friend of mine who is a quantitative analyst to do a redux of Ken's research, but based on the bonding curve. So Ken's research, of course, is about LEBs, I think that's what's being referred to here. And Joe says, oh yeah, and he says incremental reduced collateral. So how that would work and the steps it would take. So that was a little bit of bread that Jasper was dropping there. And then next we had some more teasing from Jasper that was taking place. This was in Moon's trading thread, saying no one here is bullish enough on Rocket Pool mega pools next year. Instead of silos of collateral, all collateral will be linked, allowing for scaling bond with size. one ETH bond mini pools are very likely coming. This is the upgrade that enables Rocket Pool to compete with Lido at a massive scale. We can also reduce the 14% commission with it. So let me give you a quick update of how this works as far as my understanding goes at the moment. So say right now, you have one LEB8, you need to provide 8 ETH of security for that validator, because each validator is one single entity. They don't talk to your one validator, doesn't talk to your other validator. There's no way of kind of like putting all that together, or punishing them, or sanctioning them, or penalizing them, or anything like that. With mega pools, however, what will happen is all your different validators will be on one contract, so it'll be much easier to kind of like communicate back and forth with those. What that will enable is the more ETH you have in that contract, like the more LEB8s you have, the more ETH there is there to kind of like punish you with. So if you try to steal a big MEV block, if you had two 8 ETH LEBs, then you have 16 ETH of security there, meaning that the chances of getting a 16 ETH block are much smaller than getting an 8 ETH block, which means, then getting an 8 block, which means that it's going to be much less likely for you to steal that. So what then can end up happening is you can start reducing the ETH collateral required as you get more and more ETH in that contract. So eventually, you might have someone who's got 10 LEB8s, and that's 80 ETH in there. The chance of getting a block that is 80 ETH has only happened twice in the history of Rocket Pool in a year and a half, over nearly 2 years now. So that means that that's astronomically low chance, which means as you get more and more ETH in there, you can start giving that person more and more validators, requiring less and less ETH as collateral. So eventually, after maybe like say 80 ETH or 100 ETH, whatever number is deemed safe, you can start reducing the LEB requirements overall, and giving that person more and more validators, so much so that if they have 100 ETH in their contract, you could give them 100 validators at 1 ETH bond each, and that is going to be really exciting, because of course with the smaller your ETH bond, the less commission you need to charge to get outsized rewards. Just like you get higher rewards at 14% commission with LEB8 than you did with 20% commission with LEB16s. So as you move to LEB4s, 2s and 1s, we can reduce that commission down to 10%, 12%, 10%, maybe even 8%, while also increasing the rewards for the node operator. So there's some really wonderful stuff that's going to happen with this. It's extremely exciting, and I think that's why Jasper's saying that like not enough people here are bullish on this. You really need to be bullish on this. Okay, next we had this Rocket Pool Reddit post saying, there's governance email going out, is this legit? Saying, I just got an email from claim@rocketpool.net about a version 3 token down governance. Is there there's a button to click. So of course I clicked it and shared by private key, laughing emoji. I couldn't find anything on here or Twitter about it. Is anything officially released about this? So it turns out that there's a scam that's going around, and they're spoofing the Rocket Pool email address, and they're trying to send emails to people to get them to interact with a bad contract and steal their tokens. Oh, sorry, I accidentally closed that one. I didn't mean to. So please be careful on what links you click. Don't click any links from emails. The person here leaves for life. They did the right thing by asking. It's better to ask a question that might appear to be not intelligent by people than to lose like a whole lot of crypto. So I think that's fine. This is okay. If there's a scam going around, it also highlights and brings attention to that. So I think that's a good thing. Okay, next we have this buy that came from Ethereal Capital, and it kind of like sparked a discussion, because what happened is there was a buy order found that came through Cowswap, and of course Cowswap is supposed to work in a way where the user doesn't get front run or sandwiched or anything like that. However, it looks like Ethereal Capital here, who's buying 4,167 RPL, actually even a little bit more than that, 5,265 RPL, got front run by Jared from SubwayBot, who's kind of like been feasting on some of these buys, and then kind of working out after that. So this is actually supposed to happen. So there was a whole discussion that kind of started about this, and I'm trying to find where the discussion was. However, I can't find it now, so sorry about that. I don't know where it's gone. But yeah, there was a discussion that kind of came up about it, because that isn't supposed to happen, right? Like Cowswap uses flashbots to have onto a private mempool kind of thing, and they include their blocks with builders, so they're not supposed to be able to be front run. So it's kind of interesting that Jared was able to take a nibble of this, even though Cowswap was used. So I think the idea is that you have to set really tight slippage amounts, and you need to kind of have that in place. But if I get some more information about that, I will share that with all of you. Okay, next I want to take a second to talk about the Ethereum validator queue. Right now we're down to 21 days, 18 hours, which is absolutely amazing to see. And the reason for that is because this is going to really help Rocket Pool have a burst of expansion right after the next rewards period goes live. I really think that we're going to eat through all 18,000 of the ETH in the deposit pool. I don't know how long lived that's going to be, but I think that there might be a few hundred, many hundred, hopefully, new validators that come online, from Marco Barco and Thomas kind of feasting on the ARB that while it lasts, but then also just kind of bond reducing because it's more profitable for them to do that, and also to make sure that they can get their validators online within 28 days, of course, because that will help them not lose any RPL rewards for that period. So I've been watching this number, and now it's down to 21 days, 18 hours. It means that after the reward snapshot, they'll have a few days worth of time to be able to reduce all their validators, which is really cool to see. Okay, Made Style here had an update saying Gravita opened mint caps again, and some people are waiting for this. So the rETH is getting filled already. So if we have a look at that, rETH is at 6.6 million minted with a mint cap of 7.5 million, and others are well short of the limits as well, except BLUSD. That's pretty much always bang at the limit. So they've also added Frax ETH. I guess that happened just now, and that has no ETH deposited to mint GRI yet. But as that comes through, I'm sure that they'll be adding incentives and other things for that as well in the coming days. But their rETH vault is definitely the biggest one that they have, with the second being Lido's wrapped stETH. But that's nearly half as big. So rETH is definitely doing a really good job on Gravita. It's definitely its best asset that they're accepting as collateral. Okay, another update here came from Maverick, who shared a Dune Analytics dashboard of Index Corp's icRETH, which of course is a leveraged rETH staking yield token that's coming out of Index Corp, and it kind of shared this post about it, this Dune Analytics dashboard where you can kind of read it. However, it wasn't all roses here, because Val kind of shared some information about it. So Ramana was talking about using that, and but it says it looks like the token has been deployed, but Noshua said I wouldn't touch it. So then the question became, why wouldn't you touch it? Ramana says it looks awesome, and then Noshua says I wouldn't touch it because I don't like burning money. Ramana says it's supposed to make us money, And Noshua says, borrowing ETH and Aave is too expensive to make a profit from this strategy, and I think they even have a fee on top. So, and he says, oh dear, you mean our ETH yields are too low? And Noshua says, the delta between the two is not what you want it to be. And Ramana says, not Aave's fault, it's ours. But it's not really ours either, it's just the ETH borrow rate is so expensive on Aave because so many people want to borrow ETH. And then Ramana says, thank you for saving my life. And yeah, that's not to say that, this product won't be profitable in the future, but once it happens, it'll be a really nice leveraged rETH tool. It's just right now, with the market conditions the way they are, it's not a good tool to use for that reason. But you'll just be losing money basically, as Noshua points out. So definitely, if you're going to ape into icRETH, please be careful about that. And Ramana and Noshua you need to thank them for saving your life. Okay, next we have the story of Beko, who was a node operator with Rocket Pool, who stopped being a node operator and exited their nodes. So I want to read out the story because I think this is quite a common thing that's happening right now, and I just want to share it with all of you all so you can kind of become aware of the mentality of some of the node operators out there. So Beko says, hi, I want to leave some feedback here. This is not to offend anyone, but I feel like feedback should be given when actions are taken. It says, I have over the last few days exited my 8 mini pools. The reason for this is RPL exposure. I've done my research about RPL up front and had my doubts about the tokenomics as its price is limited. Understanding can only not decrease if the number of validators keeps growing and growing. The pace required for that will in the long term exceed the number of validators that the ETH chain can onboard, and that's not taking into account the distribution, another inflationary component to the DAO. I'll still give it a try because I figured that the increased rewards might outweigh that for a while, and I've since had to buy more RPL due to the drop in price 3 times. Yes, I came at an unfortunate time. At this point, exposure to RPL is not justifiable for me personally. This decision might be ill-informed, as I'm certainly not the most competent when it comes to fully understanding Rocket Pool's mechanics, but I cannot justify the exposure for myself. That said, I want to express my gratitude and appreciation for the extremely helpful and competent community here, as well as the extremely well-done software. For my research over the past few weeks, I've absolutely failed to find any other software that's easy and clear to understand and deal with as the Rocket Pool stack. The work here done here is absolutely impressive. So this is a shame that the price has kind of like put a bunch of people in this position. It kind of makes sense. They don't want to be in unprofitable positions by not earning on their RPL. They could have used that ETH instead to spin up another solar validator or even buy rETH, I guess. They'll still be getting rewards on that. Like that would be more than what they're getting now. But I'm hoping that the RPL price will rally soon and put people like Mbeko and nearly 30% of mini pools that are out there that are currently under collateralized. It will make them all collateralized again and really help them get back on track. But it's a shame that things like this are happening. We want more node operators to come instead of node operators to leave. But I'm really hoping that the developments in the next few months that are taking place on many different fronts will yield some positive results. Okay, moving on to some other topics now. Here we're going to start with Valdov saying, I put together some thoughts on Stader for someone on the internet, and I figured I might as well share them here. Val says, I believe Stader went lower on the ETH bond than is secure, and they cut off conversation about it. They actually blocked me during technical discussions. I've written up this risk analysis for Rocket Pool, but it applies to Stader too. Stader have made some real yellow flag choices, like making the withdrawal address less secure. Note that particular issue doesn't apply if you use all nodes. Stader violated open source licensing, Rocket Pool's GPL version 3, when they refused to share Stader node code for a while despite distributing it. I worry about the value of the SD token. As a rough fundamental minimum value for either RPL or SD, I use, and then there's a formula here, and he says you can go to market cap to per token view by divided by supply. The relevant LST TVL is a future expectation, not a current one, but the point stands. It says for Rocket Pool, that is 0.0028 ETH, but for Stader, that works out as 0.00052 ETH. He says this implies that Stader needs to be 53 times Rocket Pool's LST TVL to justify the current price of the token, and that's assuming no permission validators. So their token is vastly overinflated in price, even compared to Rocket Pool's, which some people kind of compare that to Lido and say that it is overpriced too, but the speculative value increase is like a 3x, whereas 4x right now, maybe actually even 5x right now, whereas for Stader it's 53x. So that's a very, very different margin of error there, and a speculative premium even there. So definitely keep all those things in mind if you are thinking of going with Stader. Mambo-san shared this screenshot saying, is POAP.xyz doing something with Amex? And they have something called member collectibles, and it says commemorate your favorite Amex events and experiences with free digital mementos, and then you can get started, which is available to US basic consumer card members. And basically what it is the POAP are integrating with Amex, which is really cool to see. And yeah, that's really nice that there's these kind of things are happening in Web3. Of course, I'm mentioning POAP because we all love POAP at Rocket Pool and use it constantly. So that's really, really good news. Okay, now we're going to cover some information about beaconchain.in. Beaconchain.in. It's been giving up some errors these last few days about missed attestations. People have been getting notifications about attestations that have been missed, even though no attestations have actually been missed. So that is definitely something to keep in mind. Just stay on top of your node security and your node health, because there might be some issues there. I don't think it's fully fixed yet. So as I get more information about that, I will definitely let you all know. Okay, next we had this discussion on ETH Finance about Karpatkey, which is a DAO investment management system / person, and a Bagogel, I think, 12 here on ETH Finance says, with Lido now reaching 33% of all staked ETH, renewed discussions are emerging regarding why one should refrain from staking with Lido. First and foremost, Nani Ryan emphasizes the critical nature of the situation, saying any actor being this big is a critical threat. Saying there are dozens of great solutions out there protecting capital by staking with minority solution. This is now let's consider the following quotes. Lido's hETH democratizes access to the risks and benefits of validation without compromising liquidity or fungibility. It has other features that make it suitable decentralized reserve currency in the Internet of Value. And then there's a link. And then here, Karpatkey says, after being elected as one of the members of the Lido Treasury Management Committee, we'll be leveraging our network to actively push for the establishment of hETH as Ethereum's reserve currency. So here Bagogel goes on to say, have you ever come across these individuals? If you've been following the daily discussions, you might have seen posts from Harag posting yesterday's daily, and user PA7X1 in the past. Karpatkey and Stakehouse Financial are managing the finances of some of the largest DAOs in this space and are active delegates. The DAOs include Gnosis, Cow with $264 million, ENS $300 million, Balance is $6 million, and they're also involved in Lido's Treasury Management Committee link, and then it says $60 million. StakeFi has also deep connections into Maker with their strategic finance core unit. It says Karpatkey's role in treasury management is immensely important and significantly contributes to a project's success. Karpatkey has also done an excellent job visualizing their financial reports and activities. They can be viewed here, and there's a link to the reports. So how these funds being utilized? Like Gnosis now, for example, holds 70% or 147 million in Lido's hETH. They also hold smaller amounts, circa 1% of their amount of hETH in rETH and anchorETH. Primary liquidity provision is from Balancer. Why Balancer? I have no particular bias against Balancer, but it's worth noting that Karpatkey also manages Balancer's funds. Pushing Karpatkey to consider other LSTs. There's no conflict of interest, plainly, largely because none of their mandates are a secret. The only incentive is to work in the interest of the endowments and treasuries that they help manage. Is this true? Let's see with their actions. Just recently, Karpatkey has written RV Governance Forum link, and I quote, "We've historically deployed, borrowed and staked to combine 26.51 million worth of liquidity positions in both RV version 2 and version 3. When we speak of we, they don't mean their funds as Karpatkey DAO, but as funds in control of Gnosis DAO. They're openly pushing their client funds networks of collaboration, even without explicit instructions to do so." And then there's like a quote there. It says the strategy is clear. With Gnosis, they exercise control over a substantial DAO fund and have deep personal involvement in Lido DAO and leverage their network to gain access to other funds as well. Karpatkey does even publicly acknowledge this approach. One cannot help but wonder if this aligns with the best interest of the DAOs they are serving, or if we are witnessing the formation of a cartel with a small group holding substantial control. Time will tell. So this is a tweet that I put out a while ago in response to I forgot who it was, the person who was working with the Gnosis stuff. I think it was Vista, and kind of replied to their tweet by saying that this is, kind of reforming the cronyism and self promotion that the TradFi system has done, and what we kind of want to avoid. And at the time, I kind of reeled that statement back in a little bit, but there's definitely some really questionable and troubling things that are happening here, and I think that we as a community really need to put more pressure on these services to act in the best interest of Ethereum. Like they act in the interest of their endowment, but I feel like they're kind of like killing the chicken that lays the golden eggs and trying to get out like 1 or 2 extra eggs instead of feeding it and nourishing it and helping it be as good as possible in order to give you eggs for decades and like hopefully centuries to come. By promoting Lido to the way that they do to gain themselves, I feel like it's doing a massive hindrance to Ethereum, and that will only be bad for everyone. So that's definitely something interesting. Go to Reddit if you are interested in some of the comments here and see what you think of what's being said. Okay, next I'm going to talk about Holesky. So a bunch of Rocket Pool node operators are setting up Holesky validators. They're doing that at the moment. And one of the things that the Holesky people are doing, which is really interesting this time, is that they're generating 9,953 signed transactions to fund nearly 500,000 accounts on the Holesky testnet with 1,000 Ether to allow previously active accounts to start hacking or staking on new testnet immediately after Genesis on September 15th. So one of the things that happened is that Goerli ETH actually started being tradable on the market because it was kind of given value by people kind of hoarding it and not having access to it. So one of the things that they've done here with Holesky is try to avoid that by giving kind of airdropping hETH to 500,000 of the most active accounts on Ethereum to make sure that they can keep using it, and there won't be a situation where they have to buy it in the secondary market. So I think that was a really nice thing that's happened, and of course a bunch of Rocket Pool node operators are getting ready for Holesky Genesis, which is awesome to see. Okay, next we had this post from Joe. He says that there's a call for participants for tax filing for digital assets. He says the Mitra Corporation, not-for-profit company that operates multiple federally funded research and development centers, is conducting research on reducing the burden on the taxpayer and increasing overall tax reporting for digital assets. To inform the research, Mitra is interviewing digital asset investors on methods, needs, and preferences relevant to tax filings. So here it said that they're asking for people to participate in a 60-minute interview session, and they'll get a $50 Amazon gift card if they're interested in this. It says to participate, please email web3@mitra.org with the message, "I'm interested in the crypto tax filing study," to learn more. And then there's like links. So definitely go and check out that if you are interested. That of course is the company that Joe used to work for in the lifetime. Okay, so we covered Mambo Sands issues on Rocket Fuel last time, we made a POAP and we were sending out support and love. And here, Mambo-san was giving an update. He said, what a night, ended up evacuating yesterday. I think my house and neighborhood is okay, but the fire's eaten up 10,000 acres so far, and 0% of it's contained. A town a few miles south of my house is pretty much gone. And there's a picture from an airplane showing the fires that are devastating Mambo-san's community in the Pacific Northwest. It's absolutely horrible to see that happening, to a member of our community. And we started some support. Mambo here said that, Jasper said, is this something that you would want on rocket fuel? And Mambo said, if WAC thinks it's appropriate for rocket fuel, then submit away. And Mambo then gave an update. He had his priorities right. He says he was able to set up his node at a friend's house after leaving, so it's still doing its thing, which is really great. And of course, Shifrin, who is totally awesome, made a POAP saying an active rocket pool community member, Mambo-san, had to evacuate his home due to wildfires. Thankfully, his house is safe. So some support during this tough period. Get a POAP. Proceeds go to Mambo-san. So there's a POAP here, Mambo-san.eth supporter. So if you buy the POAP, then you will be supporting Mambo-san during this tough time for him and his community. However, we ended up getting some good news from Mambo-san a little bit later, saying, my family and I made it back. The house is fine, and we also got some much needed rain this morning. It's good to be home again, which was some really wonderful news a few days ago, and I'm so happy that Mambo was safe. His family was safe, and their home was safe. But yeah, it's really tough when members of our community are going through a tough time like this, and I really like that so many people came together to kind of help Mambo during this tough time. So I'm really glad Mambo's back and doing his thing, and of course he's back to submitting content for Rocket Fuel, which I absolutely love. So thanks, Mambo. Okay, what am I looking at here? I'm not sure, so let's skip it. Yes, okay. I think what we were looking at was a badly loaded link where Dr. Doofus was talking about a new Rocket Pool fantasy football. And for Europeans out there, this doesn't mean the football sport where you kick a ball with your foot. It means the football sport where you throw an oval shaped thing with your hands, so it's not a foot or a ball. But anyway, there's a fantasy football. I messed up the link here. So Dr. Doofus was setting up a fantasy football league for American football, saying, here's the list, let me know if you're in or not. I know not you is iffy on this, but once we've had 8 to 10 confirmed, I will ask for email addresses via DM or here if you don't care, so I can invite, and we will then work out the draft time and stakes. So currently they have Waldorf, Schifrin, Noshua, Not You, Hackworth, Lithium, Prominence, and No Escape. So if you are interested in joining, then reach out to Dr. Doofus. I don't know if all the spots are filled yet or not, but if they have, then sorry for the late news, but if they haven't, then you can join the server and you can play fantasy football with Dr. Doofus and friends. So here we had some nice little news from Joe that I'm going to finish the episode on about Joe's baby, which of course is his Proteus. So he says that envisaging Joe's casually discussing custom hardware for potential node operator usage in hardware. F me sideways. I just had this genius. Oh no, that's not right. So yeah, custom hardware and node operator usage, and Joe's doing the eyes emoji saying you're spying on me, but Proteus version 2 potentially. Thermal concerns at the moment, but we'll get there. So Joe is sharing some news about a new version of the Proteus. I'm not sure exactly what will change in this version, but let's see if we have a bit more information here. So one of the things that we do have, however, is that 100 Proteus boxes are already out. So Joe has hit that milestone, which is really wonderful to see. I'm really happy that the boxes have gone out and people are using them in the wild. Here's another one that most up joined the club today, and it was serial number 101. So of course there's 100 boxes that have gone out, so congratulations to Joe. And here's the post from Hardware saying, Joe says we have liftoff. So he says through some my heat sinks into the SoC RAM PMIC because I don't have a fan in it yet. Looks like you put eMMC right into the board which it wants to boot from. That's not a bad thing for running an ETH node, because technically you can just throw Docker onto the NVMe. It does make it easier to run the OS and everything off the NVMe though. Anyway, it booted up into your ambient image. So there's some stuff here happening that I don't really fully understand, but it's Joe's baby, right? So I'm glad that he's doing some really cool stuff with that. And finally, I'm going to finish today's episode with this. This is that tax post from earlier, right, from Joe. Actually, no, right at the end of that, he snuck in a sentence saying, anyway, think the second we're having another baby. So Joe is having an actual other baby. So congratulations to Joe and Joe's family. That's such great news. I'm so happy for them, and I really hope that it's all going well. I replied by saying, oh, amazing, what? Congrats. And Joe says the estimated time arrival is Jan and Feb. And Joe says he's been sitting on the news for a while because we wanted the first trimester to go well. And I said, I know that feeling well. Of course, I shared news of our second son being born, and expecting him after the first trimester finished as well, because that is the time where things are most likely to go wrong. And thankfully, unfortunately for both us and Joe, it seems like the first trimester has gone well. Patcher says more future Mercadian system employees. Sneaky says heck yeah. Sneaky says employees with quotation marks. People saying congratulations Joe, like Patches, Dondo, Sneaky, and of course Dr. Doofus shares an emoji with baby Joe. And Joe replies by saying this comment right here, officer. But lots of people were sharing love with Joe, which of course was lovely. Bossy says SNG must have a rocket fuel bot that auto submits after using a custom emoji. Sneaky says this is a great idea, be right back. But anyway, thank you all for putting up with me while I was away. This episode is just a nice casual 1 hour and 11 minutes. I'm really sorry guys, but I am not going to timestamp this episode. I just don't have the bandwidth right now. Just getting this episode out was difficult enough. All the links will be in the description, of course. I love you all, I missed you all, and I'm hoping that I'll be able to record every day for the next, almost every day for the next couple of weeks. And hopefully, from the 12th, I'll be back on my normal rhythm. But anyway, thank you all for watching, listening, and being part of this Rocket Fuel community. I will see you all soon. Bye.